I'm Mick McCarthy.
And I'm Tony Pulis.
And welcome to The Managers.
We're at the draw in South Africa and I got a call from Birmingham City. I had to tell my chief executive out there, that Birmingham have made an approach and I want to take that opportunity. Some Scottish fans wouldn't like that, but...
The League Cup triumph over Arsenal. You will be remembered for that.
I was in Wimbledon a few weeks ago. The guy stopped, wound his window down and says, "You gave me the best day of my life."
Right, I guess this week he's quite simply a legend of Scottish football. He enjoyed a trophy-laden playing career under the management of Sir Alex Ferguson at Aberdeen before moving into management where silverware kept coming. It's a huge welcome to the managers. Alex McLeish, OBE. Alex, welcome, mate.
A pleasure to be here, guys, with two of my favourite legendary managers and players back in the day.
Yeah.
So, great to be here and see you again. It's such a long time.
I'm glad you could remember us playing because I'm beginning to forget I actually played now. So,
Alex, just quickly.
Go on.
All the managers you played under, all the experience you got before you went into management, what was the things you picked up from them? What was important when you started your first job?
Yeah, well, the first one, who you will know the name, was Ally MacLeod. And I went up there as a 17-year-old, trained sometimes with the first team, and Ali had this infuriating moments when the teams were playing five-a-sides at the end, the week, right, let's have a wee game at the end, and one of the teams is winning 5-2, and Ali would shout, right, next goal's worth 6. and if Bobby Clark was in the winning team, Bobby was the goalkeeper. Legendary goalie at Aberdeen.
Don't talk to Tone about five-a-sides at the end of it because he's not having them. Go on.
And if Bobby lost the next goal and it was now 7-5 to the other team, he would go mental, absolutely crazy. And apparently one of the players kind of waved it in his face a wee bit, and Bobby chased them right round their training ground. And I mean, they're up the street, out of the stadium, up the street, and couldn't catch him because this was Stuart Kennedy. He was really quick.
You didn't inherit that
really
rule,
quick
then?
fullback.
No, next goal
didn't inherit. But Ali was good. He saw me as a young player playing in Glasgow for a boys' club team. We won a final, 3-1, and I was told that that Aberdeen were watching me. But we come through it okay. But before the game, funny enough, the chief scout, guy called Bobby Calder, legendary for bringing players, young guys up from Glasgow, and that, Willie Miller and all these fellas. And, he said just before the game, which Ali had come to that final to assess me, and he said, it's the guy with the red hair. So it just so happens that the guy in the other team had red hair. Like 30 minutes into the game, Ally MacLeod sidled over to Bobby and said, I'm quite liking the other guy with the red hair in the other team. And Bobby had to flummox through his papers, and he says, oh, wait a minute, you're right, it is the guy in the other team. He says, I've been sending the coaches over the last few weeks. I've never actually seen him personally. So, anyway.
Sliding doors moment, that one.
Sliding doors, nearly.
The guy with the red hair.
It was nearly never to be.
Could have been the other guy. Yeah. Ally MacLeod, but we've got Billy McNeill.
Then Billy.
Big Billy, because, close to my heart, Big
honestly,
Billy,
Absolutely.
It's wonderful with me.
I loved Billy, and he came, and I'm thinking, centre half, give me a lot of tips and all that stuff. And he did, and but timing in the air and things like that, and it was always a big part of my practice in those days.
By the way, as a player, he was magnificent in the air and all. Whenever saw him, if you ever could see any videos of that, Big Billy.
It was incredible.
Proud, he was Big Billy. He was a huge, big guy, big personality, wasn't he? But I loved playing for him. It was
Do you remember Rangers lost a game, a Scottish Cup final, 4-1, and Sir Alex was playing? And guess who Sir Alex was asked to man mark?
Yeah, off the
Was
corner.
it Big Billy?
And Alex took a lot of stick for it, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Yeah.
I think he was really upset with that, and I think it stayed with him probably forever. You know, it still stays with him. He probably. Listen, he's done quite well since then. You know. But
Where did it all go wrong, Alex?
I know.
He told me the story, actually.
Marking Big Billy.
Yeah. So. That was.
They must all have had an influence on you, though. In, certain things, not just one. Maybe just one thing that you remember.
Yeah. So when Sir Alex arrived, I was still kind of in the reserves, and the first team were kind of getting to feel their way about. Sir Alex's, the way he was going about it. It was. And then he had a week in a faux pas when he compared some of the players to his ex-team players, like St Mirren's team. Jackie Copeland was a great centre half for St Mirren, fantastic. And the boss said to Willie Miller, he says, Willie, what do you think, about that and this? And do you not think Jackie Copeland would have done? Oh, and that was like nothing. Hell hath no fury like a Willie Miller scorn, And
he was a player though, wasn't he? At the time,
and Willie was just a remarkable sweeper. And back in the day, it was like our Beckenbauer, but maybe. Beckenbauer could have played in midfield or anywhere. Wally was the supreme defender, and I'm sure he'll thank me for getting my nose broke and burst, and
while he swept up.
Just let him sweep up every little piece after that. Yeah, and still his face is untouched.
So what was Alex like?
Yeah, he was. A force of nature, and
then was he never changed? And he started
never
that
changed,
way.
never changed. And but the thing was about that wee thing about comparing St Mirren players. Frank McCarthy got a mention as well, comparing them to our centre forwards, and so there was other. And then immediately he never mentioned it again.
Yeah,
and that's the mark of.
Management.
Not being stubborn,
and
knowing, whoa, wait a minute. And I think Archie had a chat with him at the time as well, Archie Knox, and said, Pat Stanton was there at that time, and he said, just mention your boys and what they're doing and that, and he said, yeah, you think you're right, and so they got together and made sure that the players were. Going to react and not be in the huff,
Yeah, with the team that you had there, was there a lot of young lads coming through, Alex, or did Sir Alex bring kids or bring people in as well to get the mix?
Yeah,
because you obviously went on a run that was unbelievable.
Well, yeah, we had a few young Aberdeen players coming through, John Hewitt, Eric Black. Was a Glaswegian, but he lived up north, and two wonderful players coming through, and the kids,
Black.
And the kids. Remember Eric? Yeah, but again, he was all about trying to get great strikers,
Yeah,
and so Eric turned out a great striker. Hewitt turned out a great striker. In fact, I think Hewitt got a hole in one at his golf do last year. Were you there? No.
Yeah.
And won a 50 grand car, or won 55 grand. I think that was the prize money.
Yeah.
Don't tell the tax man.
55 grand's better than a car, mate. Let me tell you. Anyway, so that's you as playing and under the managers and all the influence of it. Then let's fast forward. So we're on the managers, aren't we? So. Yeah. To 1994, you take your first managerial job at Motherwell.
Yes.
First full season, you guide them to a second place finish behind Rangers, which is pretty damn good. Did it feel like management might be a straightforward business at that point?
Yes, I actually started lighting up cigars in the morning, and honestly, I thought, wow,
this
management game is pretty bloody easy, And then, boom, when an avalanche of my first team players either were injured, chucked the game, went somewhere else, and we had a kind of exodus. I then realised what recruitment was all about.
Yeah,
and if you don't pick the right players, you're going to struggle. And that season, we did have a struggle, and we were kind of bottom half. I'm thinking, how can we go from there to there? And I said, I know I've lost a lot of players, and I think I brought Owen Coyle in January, in the January window, and only ran riot. And what a difference one guy can make. And we went to Ibrox. Rangers were the inaugural champions. They were celebrating that day already when Motherwell went there. And Owen scored twice, I think, to beat Rangers 2-0 at Ibrox.
You've had your job at Motherwell, you've had your job at Hibs, because reality is, we want to know about
Rangers.
That's what you absolutely knocked it out of the park at Rangers. Dick Advocaat leaves in 2001 or steps down. You get the call. It's how did it feel when you found it? I can imagine how it was going to feel. But what did it? What was it? You must have been behind closed doors. You must have been clicking your heels and jumping for joy, because to get one of those jobs in Scotland.
Yeah. It was. There was a rumour somebody that said something to me, and I hear you could be in for the contention. Dick Advocaat was stepping down, and I thought, no, David Murray the chairman will go. The owner, David Murray, will go for somebody in Europe again. I'm sure of it. But then nearer the announcement of Dick Advocaat was going to move upstairs, they called me, and he says, I bet you never thought you'd get this call.
Who said this, Dick?
David Murray.
Oh, David Murray.
He says, I bet you never thought you'd get this call, Alec. I'm still palling with him.
No, let me tell you, David, I was hoping. That's for sure.
I says, I did hear rumours, Chairman. I said, but that I'm absolutely thrilled, and of course, I'll take that job. It was my boyhood team, and that's an honour. And okay, Aberdeen was my career football-wise, and I love them too. But
maybe two careers. You've
two careers.
You've a playing career.
Aye, the managerial career.
Yeah,
and it's vastly different, isn't it? But for most of us, it is certainly. Anyway, you hit the ground running, winning both the League Cup and Scottish Cup in your first season.
Aye.
That's a good start for you, man.
Celtic were too far away in the league when I arrived.
Is that what? Yeah.
Aye, we had no chance.
Who was managing Celtic then?
So when I went there, that was Martin. That was Martin.
Aye, yeah.
Aye.
How was it?
Yeah, Martin.
And they've been flying, of course, yeah.
I know.
It says, did you feel immediate pressure to keep that success going? When you get a Rangers or Celtic job, it's pressure, mate, isn't it?
Unbelievable, yeah. And
even playing for them.
Mick, I was in the hotel room before we played Celtic in the semi-final. In my first, we'd won those. We ended up winning two cups. We played Celtic semi-final at Hampden, and I'm parading about my room, and I phoned the Gaffer as well, Sir Alex, and then I kind of couldn't sleep, and I'm saying, what if I never win a game against Celtic? I would go down as a dud. I had the terrible, horrible monkey on one shoulder, and then the good guy appeared and says, what if you do? So
thank God for him, says you.
We won that semi, yeah, great. And then, winning the final as well was icing on the cake.
I'd never known it before. You always want to win, don't you, at every club? Turn up, and we're having the picture taken before the season in 87, 88, and somebody said, "Where are all the trophies?" And some smart wag said, "Ibrox." Billy McNeill lost his head completely. I mean, berated each and every one of us, never mind if you'd said anything, and laid down the law that we are not here to play football, we're here to win. That's this. You have to win at this club.
Yeah.
And it's the first time. We always want to win, don't we? Every club you are.
Of course.
But not expected to. You don't go away and get a nice 1-1 draw coming back from 1-0 down at St Mirren.
Yeah.
You've got to go and beat them.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand looking at you now as a manager going in there, thinking that about Celtic, thinking you've got the monkey going, what if I never win one?
I know.
It would be awful.
What was the pressure like, Alex?
Henrik Larsson and all these guys, I mean, massive pressure. You know, there was times, I mean, you guys will surely be similar in terms of when you've lost a game and at night try and sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going through your head, I should have done this or I should have done that, you know. So we've all had those moments, but at that club, it was like...
You inherited talented squad when you got Rangers. Barry, to name a few, Barry Ferguson, Tor Andre Flo.
Incredible.
Claudio Reyna, Lorenzo Amoruso, Ronald de Boer, Peter Lovenkratz. I mean, if you inherit players like that, it's great to go and work with them.
Honestly,
but, you know, your first full season at Rangers ends with a domestic treble. So it's all right inheriting the players, though. You still
need good management.
You've got to get good management. You've got to get them on board to what you're doing. So that must be way, way up there in all the highlights of your career.
God, I mean,
treble.
I know you'll get a lot of people who think it's easy saying, some players though, didn't it? Some players, you know, and but they just, you've got to handle these players, and you have to. They're actually superstars.
Do you know, Alex? What's really difficult for me is me to sound thrilled for you. You know, but anyway.
No, I know exactly where you're coming from. We're all in the same. We've been in the same boat. When I arrived that first season, we had 2 cups to play for.
Yeah,
the league was kind of done and dusted for Celtic, and then when you win those 2 cups, you're thinking, I'm still looking at these players, Michael Mols, Ronald de Boer, Barry Ferguson, Amoruso, Arthur Newman, you know, and brilliant goalkeepers also, fantastic all round. Neil McCann, you know, we had wingers, Lovenkrands.
Yeah.
You know, sorry if I've left anybody out.
Yeah.
And the quality was phenomenal. Celtic had massive quality too, and they had big, powerful, you know, John Hartson in this world, and you know, Henrik Larsson. So
he was a player, wasn't he?
Oh God,
yeah.
But you know, to go head to head and to you had to almost win all your games with Celtic, but against Celtic if you were going to win the league, because that's how tight the points were, Tony.
What was it like that year then, doing the treble? What was the games like, the Old Firm games like then?
I don't think we actually won all the 4 games, but I think we did win a couple. It felt like a cup final of every game.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the way everybody in the UK observed it as well. You know, coming down to England and or having family in England, and that they kept saying, what? The Rangers Celtic games are cup finals, and it was. I don't know. I mean, you always try to be thorough in every game, but that one was super thorough.
Yeah, I say, Alex, playing in them.
Yeah.
I said, if you're beating St Mirren on the Saturday, or anybody else in the league, but you're playing then Rangers the following Saturday, they go and there'd be 3 or 4 questions about the game you've won, the St Mirren, or Celtic have beat St Mirren.
Straight on.
You've beaten Hibs, Rangers. Everything then from that Saturday afternoon is all about the next game, which is Rangers. Nothing else is mentioned. Not that you had a great result and you're beating somebody on the Saturday. It's who you're playing the following Saturday. I never, ever encountered anything as big or as ruthless as
intense
that was. And you had to win.
I know.
It
was obviously kind of people say, well, it's a small country and 2 teams. You know, when you start to hit a spell where things are not going well. Obviously you feel as if, and I don't know how you guys felt, but I always felt that you were letting millions down.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's the kind of.
You take it personal, Alex, don't you?
All the managers,
you take it.
You
personal.
guys are the same. We all took it very personally, and especially when it's a team of Rangers magnitude, you know, who are probably in 20, 30 teams in the whole world who have to win every week. And then when you're not winning, then it's painful.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BOYLE Sports, if your team goes 2 goals up, you win. Job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this also means that we need to reconsider some crucial games across your careers, Mick and Tony. In fact, I'm going to take you back to the Britannia Stadium, Halloween 2009, the first time Mick McCarthy meets Tony Pulis in the Premier League. Stoke go 2-0 up. But Mick, your Wolves team come back, draw 2-2. And I'm sorry, Mick, I'm taking the point off you. Because of BOYLE Sports' new laws, I'm afraid Stoke won that game. Congratulations, Tony.
Thank you.
There you go. So get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they go on to win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
Well, it went particularly well for you anyway. So we had the treble. You didn't lose many that year, did you?
No, it wasn't too bad.
But that summer, you signed a young Spanish midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that go then? Mikel Arteta. Sorry, I've just had Mikel Arteta. To enhance that team, you just won a treble and you go and sign him. How was he?
I'd never seen him.
I didn't know.
No, I'd never seen him, and David called me and he said, look, Alec, we're going to have to jiggle the finances a wee bit, and we've got a kid on the books that Dick Advocat had targeted. He's a Barcelona player, but he's on loan at the moment to Paris Saint-Germain. And
sounds like a good reference to me, that.
I said, what's his name, you know? And he's Mikel Arteta, and I didn't know who he was. I hadn't seen that name, you know, and then he was 19, I think, at the time. It's pending, he said, and if you want it, we can get the money to do it, 6 million. And, you know, but you'll need to get rid of somebody. Like, not in that.
Yeah, you have to balance the books.
You have to balance the books, you know.
Yeah.
Don't get rid of somebody.
Sounds familiar then.
Yeah.
So I did have to lose one of the players and kind of counterbalance the 6 million. And but I sent Andy Watson, my assistant, to go and see him because we'd never seen a video, anything of him.
Yeah.
And Andy went, and I phoned him after the game. I trusted Andy, and he was a good judge, and he said, listen, he's great feet, he's nimble, he's quick, and he's a decent player. He says, but he's number 6 for PSG, and everything starts through him. So he goes back and takes the ball from the defenders.
Yeah.
I says, well, we've got a number 6 who is like one of the best in Europe, Barry Ferguson.
Yeah.
And I says, so, Chris, is he talented enough to play in forward positions, you think? And he says, he's definitely got the legs and the intelligence. Aye. So I said, look, when Andy came back, I said, we have to say to the chairman, yes, because if we don't and he turns into a world superstar, that one, and he turns into a world superstar footballer, then they're going to slaughter you and me,
It's
but
funny,
me mainly
Isn't it funny how
in the future.
you can get it wrong both ways?
Aye.
You go, yes, and he turns out to be a dumpling, you're in trouble.
I know.
You say no, and he turns out to be a worldie,
Yeah.
you're a dumpling.
Yeah, dumpling. You're two dumplings.
No,
I know.
it's awful.
Yeah.
So Mikel came and we fitted him into a midfield three, and he was interacting with great players like Barry Ferguson and Shota Arveladze and Caniggia. He couldn't not win, and they protected him. Ronald de Boer was in the team as well, so Ronald was he looked up to guys like that. And
Are you surprised how well he's done? Are you surprised he went into management?
And I never saw that he was going to become a manager at that time. He was a young kid. He was quite quiet. He had his own banter in the dressing room with the guys, and I'm sure. But I couldn't have said that guy's going to manage one of the best teams in the
don't
world.
we all love a young'un though when he comes in? If he is, what was he, 19? Did you say?
Aye.
And they get in the team,
19, yeah,
and then you can see they can play.
Yeah,
and the older lads are helping him, but. Isn't it refreshing? Everybody loves to see one of the young ones come in.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they like to see them come through the youth team.
Yeah.
But no matter where they come from, it's great to see.
I know, fantastic. So six
but
million.
anyway, you've got him. So you won the league.
We won the league,
and
he scored the sixth goal against Dunfermline in the very last game of the season.
The sixth.
Is that
sixth?
Did that decide the league?
That decided the league.
Yeah.
Wow.
Celtic won 4-0 at Kilmarnock. Yeah, both teams were running riot to try and get goals.
Yeah.
And it was like lottery stuff. And so we ended up getting 6, and it was Arteta's penalty that won the title.
Got you
for
over
us.
the line.
And Google him. Yeah. And you'll see him waving his hands in the air.
Do you still keep in touch with him, Alex?
So yes, now and again.
Yeah.
I don't
Bother him.
bother him too much.
Yes.
Just now and again when I see a good result. And I actually thought Victor Gyökeres was a great signing.
Yeah.
I thought Amarim would have went for him. United, because when Sporting last year battered Man City,
He played
Gyökeres,
well.
Yeah. I think he'll turn out to be one,
I think so.
I think just the fact, you hear him cheering now when he goes closing people down and stopping the opposition playing.
He's lively, isn't he?
Yeah, and so he hasn't
He's
he's
got
not
energy.
getting all the goals, but he's got something up front.
He got a couple last weekend, didn't
I know he batters a few of them
Yeah.
as well, because he's a big, powerful fella. So
I know.
anyway, that's when we sign players, you hope they're going to be good.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
It's, the management side of that, it might not be that he scores 20 goals, but just the way he leads it, and he takes the weight off other people and all that, so you can get other things out of players that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, I know.
And thank God you do, especially if you spent 50 or 60 million on them. Which I don't think I ever did that.
Oh my word!
I know. The following year came to an end. So you win the league again. 2005, but a year later, your time at Rangers comes to an end. How is that? I mean, how does it go? Did it go so pairs? Had you had enough?
A bit of both. We kind of got to a stage where everybody had left, and we were trying to rebuild again, and the squad weren't quite well. I don't think any squad since Walter's obviously come back and done really well when he got some money to spend. Then it was difficult to replicate that, when with the players that were just coming through, they weren't at the level of the previous guys who had won those 7 trophies.
Did you realise, Alex, that time was time?
David kind of set it up a wee bit and said, "Look, I'm looking at the possibility of bringing another manager in." He says, and we shake hands on.
So your relationship was that good?
It was good, and I knew that I was leaving at the end of the season. That was in my head. But you know what? I felt a bit of relief. It was a bit of anxiety there.
Were you going to have to build another squad then?
I would have had to build another squad.
So I was just going to say, there's not too many Alex Fergusons around.
I would have had
continue doing it for what 20
well,
years.
the other thing is, everything that you set out to achieve, you'd achieved.
Yeah.
So that ambition to do it again and do it again and do it again, it wavers. That's where Sir Alex is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because he did keep doing it again and again and again. But it does hit you, doesn't it? If you've hit a level and you think...
I know. So Tony Paul Le Guen come in. Remember the name Paul Le Guen?
Yes, I remember the name,
Paul came in and it didn't quite work out for him. And then the chairman made, I think after that, he went for Walter again.
Yes.
And Walter came in and said, I'm not coming back unless I get any money to spend, and on good players. So hence the art of recruitment again.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great man he was.
Oh,
great guy, wasn't he? Yeah.
Fantastic. Walter was my coach at Large when I did my coaching course.
Yeah.
And obviously the guy who gave me that good bit of advice about Rangers. Just effing win.
So, Scotland job after that?
Yeah.
International job, which, I know about different. It's completely different.
Honestly, I never thought I would jump to the international scene.
Except you've got to win. We've still got to win, but it's just different doing it.
Yes, it is.
And how was it for you?
Yeah, it was when I always said, no, I'm not going to go for a Scotland job. I'm going to do a big club career and maybe later on in my years. And then when I got the phone call, I can't resist this,
Yeah.
And it was just an honour and a thrill to be able to manage Scotland. And, we had some great close moments again, as Scotland do. The best result, we beat France in Paris.
That's a good result.
When we were, France were a right good team and they were hot favourites. And we went there and James McFadden scored with a 25-yarder. Don't know if you remember that one.
No, I don't.
Well, I mean, it was, I'm in the dugout and I'm going, don't shoot for there. What a goal!
I think we've all had one of them.
No, it was a brilliant,
great night.
I made a wee bit of fun out of that one.
I loved the job with Ireland. It was fabulous.
Aye.
But there were some frustrations that I'm going to watch games on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'd sooner be down there in the dugout doing it. I didn't.
Aye.
So 10 games a year, 12 games a year.
Aye.
You think, it's a perfect job. It's a perfect job. Well, actually, I'm 66. It's probably perfect now.
Yeah.
I was just late 30s when I got the job. I found that very frustrating, that side of it, and not having the players in and not being able to work with them. And then when you get them in, you've got them in for 2 days. And
I wasn't in. I was offered the chance of managing Wales quite a few years ago, and that was the reason I didn't do it, because I didn't think it would be enough for me.
Yeah.
To play 3 or 4 games a year.
Yeah.
At the age I was, Mick, I just still wanted club football.
Yeah.
I wanted that involvement.
There's much more games now, isn't there, as well?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know I'd ever get it asked again. So when I was asked, I was having it with both hands. And it worked out well, But it is a much different job, innit? Much different vibe completely.
Yeah, I know. It's
no games yet. Total scrutiny.
Yeah, I know. And you're kind of in a world of, well, they're not my boys, So do I shout at them or do I,
cuddle them?
Yeah, you cuddle them, or empower them, They try these days, but.
And what about when you've got a friendly that don't really mean much to anybody else except me, of course, and you, the coaches and managers, and the country and the players.
Exactly.
And you get one of the players' managers call you and said,
you're not getting your
why
best
did you
player.
not take him off in the second half? Or we're only playing for 60 minutes. So, well, it doesn't matter. The game don't matter. I went, no, actually,
I used to hate you international managers. I'd be sending players off and thinking, oh my God, how are they going to come back? And don't tell me you two have not been in club football and thought exactly the same. Yeah. On to England.
Yes.
Come on, yeah.
I know it was almost my ambition was to manage in the Premier League, after Rangers. And during Scotland, we were at the draw in South Africa I was with the Scottish chief exec, and I got a call from Birmingham City about coming to the Premier League. And, oh God, it was,
Isn't it great when you get one of those calls?
wow, absolutely, and I had to tell my chief executive out there, that Birmingham have made an approach, and I want to take that opportunity. I've always wanted to go to the Premier League, and I guess probably some Scottish fans wouldn't have liked that, but I felt I was still kind of needing to get
day to day,
something more in terms of club football, day to day. It's just a day to day, and then what better than the Premier League in England?
There's nothing like it, to be honest. I've done them both and enjoyed them, but the day to day, especially if you're still of that age, it's great in everyday chatting with them. I mean, you could have more influence on them, of course.
Fabulous.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout, I hear you ask? Well, with BOYLE Sports, if the team you back goes 2 goals up, you win, job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this means we need to reconsider a crucial game in your career, Tony. I'm talking, of course, about the 1999 playoff final when your Gillingham team were 2 goals up with 5 minutes to play. Obviously, that means, in the eyes of BOYLE Sports, you have now won the Second Division playoff final, 1999. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And also, West Ham won the 2006 FA Cup final, which is great, and commiserations to Liverpool for not winning the 2005 Champions League. And obviously, now Gillingham have won the 1999 Second Division playoff final. Commiserations to Nicky Weaver and Manchester City. Yes, get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only. Applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus. T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
You experienced a few highs and lows, mate. Relegation, promotion, and then the League Cup triumph over Arsenal, which is,
I know,
you'll always be remembered for whatever else you've done.
I know.
You will be remembered for that.
Well, I was in Wimbledon a few weeks ago and walking to the station, and this van come past me, and the guy stopped, wound his window down, and says, "You gave me the best day of my life." And I thought, "You a Brummie?" I'm sorry, Brummies, if that was a poor impersonation. And it was brilliant. And
I had Craig with me, Craig Gardner.
Aye.
And honestly, speaks so highly of you, Alex.
Good
and
lad.
That game as well.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah. He was great. He scored one of the goals in the semi-final, West Ham. Yeah, the winner, I think. But Craig, he's high up there now.
At Birmingham, yeah. He's a great lad.
Is he recruitment? Is he?
Yeah, he's a great lad.
So they've just gone off the ball a wee bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, so the cup. Ended in relegation not long after.
Yeah, that was
Aston Villa came calling after the relegation.
That was
that's an interesting one.
Oh,
I mean,
you're not going from Birmingham to Villa.
Yeah, you're not going to move from Rangers to Celtic. Well, they wouldn't ask you anyway, of course. But anyway, that's another one.
I know.
Did you know?
A bit of a sliding door, wasn't it?
Can I just say, you look now as if you're wondering why you did it at all. You've got a bit of a look on your face.
I know.
How was it?
It was tough. It was tough, and I probably should have looked into it deeper. But So I met the Americans in London, Knightsbridge. I mean, just when you get that kind of offer, you're thinking, it's a big club, and it's might never happen to me again in my life, and maybe you jump at it a wee bit.
Can I ask, did you have that little thought that you thought, you know, it might not be as bad as everybody's saying it's going to be.
Yeah.
I might be able to turn them around. I might be able to win them over. I might be able to, you know, all those things. Were they going on?
They were going on in my head.
Mixed
you know.
emotions, I bet.
They did. And we started well in the season at Chelsea. We in New Year, we beat them at Stamford Bridge, and everything was getting nice and rosy there. And then we had an avalanche of injuries, you know. Richard Dunn done his shoulder.
Great lad, Dunny. Good player.
Dunny, and Shea as well, done his shoulder.
Shea
Both of them,
Given,
two in my spine in the team, and then we had a little bit of an explosion gone down the way, and I got Robbie Keane
wow.
from America.
Yeah.
And he did the trick. He was, you know...
He turned it round.
He did.
He scored, I think he scored 2 or 3 goals, but he scored a beezer at Wolves. You were the manager,
excuse
you know.
me, we're 1-0 up and the wee shite scored 2 goals and he scored the winner.
That's right.
And the fact that he did so well for me, I almost forgave
Just thought,
him.
yeah, it's great he brought that up.
I know.
Good job he did.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad Mick brought that up.
You persuaded Scott McTominay to commit to Scotland.
Yes, aye.
That was a good decision, wasn't it?
That was brilliant.
He's been
the big man.
Since going out to Italy. I mean, it's just incredible.
Jeez, all because of me, yeah.
Unbelievable. Hey, take the credit when it's going.
How did Man United let him go?
But
no, I know.
was that financial? Because
that was
whenever he played, I always liked him. Whenever he played,
full of energy,
full of energy,
good size.
Big size. Yeah, I know.
Score a goal. He'd
Yeah.
suit us 3 down to the ground.
I know. I think.
He goes out there and he's getting in the European Team of the Year and all sorts of things. He's amazing what he's done.
Brilliant. I mean, it's fantastic. And when I saw him, Mourinho invited me down to lunch and watch training and that. And he brought Scott into the office. He says, right, here's a man, you have to sign him for Scotland. You know, and Big Scott, right away, he says, I said, listen, just don't ask you in your face, do you want to play for Scotland? And he says, absolutely, 100%. And, you know, it was great news to go back to. It was the Beast of the East, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Blooming weather we had that weekend,
yeah.
The snow and all that stuff. And I got to Manchester, Piccadilly, at 4 a.m. And I got to the hotel just near Old Trafford. And the guy looks at his roster and he says, you're doing as a no-show. I said, oh mate, come on, for God's sake. I've travelled all the way from Scotland here in the snow and everything. Failed trains, 2 failed trains. And he says, sorry, I'll get your room. And then the next morning, Mourinho, I phoned in the morning, I says, look, I'm just running late. And Mourinho says, no, come in at lunchtime, you know. And that was great. And I got another hour. And Big Scott was come into the office and delighted to play for Scotland. And when
you want
to hear
well,
that,
I was going to say that's brilliant that he says it
yes.
straight away.
When you get the boys at that kind of level and they've not had that experience, you just want to keep playing them in every game.
Yeah,
you know. And then there was things we were discussing with the coaches, and there was other people chipping in, people that knew him on the outside, phoning in and saying, by the way, he's no bad up front as well. You know, off the front, he played with youths or something in that kind of role. And but I said, right, I'll just keep him in a kind of safe environment in the midfield where he can go if he wants.
Yeah.
And then Stevie used him in a different kind of roles as well, in a back five, and then pushed him forward and then further forward. And he's been a revelation.
Yes.
You know? Revelation.
These are my predictions for the weekend's games, FA Cup and some league games. I've got Burnley to beat Mansfield. Burnley, 19th of Premier League. They need a cup run. They need some pride for their fans. They don't want to get beat by Mansfield. Although Mansfield won 5, drawn 4 of the last 9 games in League One, that is. But, could that be a cup upset? Not sure, but I've got Burnley to beat Mansfield. Grimsby, playing Wolves. Wolves away, I've got them to beat Grimsby. Grimsby, who have won 6, drawn 3 of the last 9, so they're going well in League 2. Wolves, they've had a bit of a run. I know they lost at the weekend to Chelsea. They're not going to stay up. They need a cup run. They need their fans on side. If they're going to go down, which it looks like they are, they want to be going down fighting, and a cup run would help that. So Wolves to beat Grimsby away. I've got Sunderland to beat Oxford away. Oxford 23rd in the Championship. They drew at Coventry. They keep getting a result. But, Sunderland, they've been flying this year. They beat Everton away in the last cup match. So I've got Sunderland, who are 9th in the Premier League, to beat Oxford, who are going to get relegated from the Championship. Last by no means least, another away result in the FA Cup. Port Vale, who are bottom of League One, look like they're going to get relegated. They're playing Bristol City. They've been going well. They beat Hull away 3-2 at the weekend in the last game. They're 8th in the Championship, looking for the promotion playoffs. And I think a cup run would enhance that. They certainly don't want to lose to Port Vale and then be going to the next league game. So Bristol City to beat Port Vale away, Sunderland to beat Oxford away, Wolves to beat Grimsby away, and Burnley to beat Mansfield, Burnley at home. There are my predictions, and £10 returns £65 and 48p, including the ACCA boost from BOYLE Sports. Good luck, everybody.
My predictions for this weekend, obviously FA Cup weekend, and I'll start, my first 2 games will deal with that. Big local derby in Manchester. City will play Salford, so there'll be thousands of Salford supporters going across, hoping and praying it'll be a massive cup upset. Unfortunately, I just don't see it that way. I think City will have too much, and they'll go through. Dropping down the country just a little bit to Macclesfield, who had that famous result against Crystal Palace in the last round. They take on Brentford. I think this is a great opportunity for Brentford to go a long way in the cup. I don't see there being any repeat of the shock Macclesfield produced last time round. So I'm going for Brentford to win there. Then I'm dropping down to the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday against Millwall. Sheffield Wednesday obviously are in dire straits. It's terrible really, because it's such a big club and such a famous football club. And Millwall are on such a great run. They have been flying at the moment. So I'm going Millwall to beat Sheffield Wednesday, and dropping down the leagues again. MK Dons to beat Newport. Newport's my hometown. They're struggling a little bit at the bottom of the table. If that result doesn't go the way I've predicted it, I'll be delighted. But I just can't see it. I think MK Dons will win. So £10 returns £23 10p, including the ACCA boost from BOYLE Sports.
Alex, you've been great. I just said finally then, so are you missing management? Do you miss it at all?
He misses us.
Oh, no, yeah. Really. I mean, I miss you two. Yeah, that was a delight to see you two today. I thought I might have got cardboard cutouts, but there you are.
There we are in real
life.
It's a pleasure to see you, mate. I've enjoyed it. It's
brilliant,
great
boys.
Always,
brilliant, guys. Good,
fantastic career, Alex.
Good
I tell you what,
fantastic.
I knew you'd had a good career, but it's really irked me that it's been even better than I thought it was.
We're walking in. We met for a coffee, and I said to Mick, "Have you read what he's done?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable, isn't it? It's
absolutely
fantastic."
You don't fucking remind me. I'm beginning.